It is absolutely the hottest genre in publishing right now. But what is cozy fantasy in a nutshell?
I think it's less even a subgenre and more a vibe. A lot of what is going into cozy is a set of some tropes, but a lot of it just sort of a feeling. Cozy fantasy is usually relatively low stakes. It's usually concerned with a lot of the trappings of domesticity. It's also a very limited consequences. It is a thing where you have faith in the author that while the characters may be in some turmoil or some conflict or some jeopardy, you will always feel safe. The characters will not always necessarily feel safe, but you will always feel safe. It's a sense of safety. You go into a cozy novel and you know that you're not going to be upset, that the experience of reading this thing will feel warm and fuzzy and fun.
It's not going to be stressful. How do you manage stakes in a cozy fantasy story?
So this is a delicate balance that you need to have, because and I've read one or two things that were so low stakes as to be basically no stakes, and I recognize that it is a thing that some people want and need. I do want some kind of tension.
Yeah.
If you choose to go with the no stakes route, you need to be extremely aware of what you're doing and make that. Honestly, that needs to be one of the biggest parts of your marketing of that book, because it's the kind of thing that if somebody is looking for that, then they will love this thing so hard. And unless they are explicitly looking for that, they are going to be extremely frustrated by the end and probably not finish.
You want it very clear who will love this book.
Exactly. But you also don't want high stakes. As we said at the beginning, like, this is an epic fantasy. This is not thriller. There should not be white knuckling here. Your reader is going to be very confident that everything's going to come out happy. And they're also going to be reasonably confident that you're not going to have a total gut punch followed by happy. The reader is not waiting for something horrible to happen. And if you promise coziness and then you murder a pet, or you have the lead couple break up in a way that is just devastating and your reader is going to be like sobbing, they're going to feel betrayed, because you spent 3/4 of the book talking about tea sets, and now somebody is absolutely convinced that the love of their life has died horribly.
It's that tone whiplash thing. It doesn't work well. Yeah.
You need to know what effect you're trying to create, and you need to promise something and then deliver on it. And I'm, again, not saying that there is no place for pulling the rug out from under a reader.
Yeah.
But you need to have dropped enough hints. If you're going to do something horrifying, then you cannot promise one thing and then deliver a different experience. They will be very angry, and not in a good way.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I think one of the most important thing about stakes in cozy fantasy is, okay, in epic fantasy, it's fate of the country, fate of the world, fate of the universe. Fine. In cozy fantasy, it is all tied to the main character, personal to the main character, personal to the community. And that's why it's compelling. That's what makes it important. And that's where the stakes become high, but personal rather than world ending, right? That's what makes the stakes feel cozy to me. It's that very personal thing.
And having that sense of scale is part of what allows you to do this domesticity. It's like if you're going to do epic fantasy, all of it is big. All of the emotions are big. All of the training montage is going to be, climbing over the walls and learning to sword fight or sling fireballs. The arc is going to be big. The Dark Night of the Soul is going to be shattering. Probably several people, including your mentor, are going to die horribly. The Kai is going to be in this massive battle that would have to be done with CGI. And then the happy ending is going to be the saving of everything. In Cozy, it's all small. It lets you zoom in on the little details. And you can spend a big chunk of time talking about your tea sets and talking about your books. It's going to stay at the same level. I mean, it's like when you zoom way in or way out on a picture, this is going to stay at the same zoom level. You kind of have to stay there. It's also probably not going to have globe trotting involved.
No.
Yeah, you may start in one location and early on in the book move to the second location that's going to be where you stay. Like a lot of times it is about like having been out in the big wide world and then coming into a much smaller location, but you're going to stay in the same setting for the vast majority of your book. And you're going to choose to stay there at the end too. I think that's where it's different from like the Hollywood archetypes of, the big city person comes to the small town to learn a thing and then go back to the big city. And I say this is a big city person who has no intention of living in a small town, but it's a different type of story.
Yeah.
Because it is not about learning a very special lesson and then going out into the wide world. It is about choosing to focus on the here and now.